Hello, and welcome to our podcast. I'm Dominic.
I'm Jen.
And this is Look Up.
Dummy fuck.
Okay, this time we need a piece of paper because even smart people need some notes. And we're not that smart, but we decided to need some notes because we did some homework and we want to talk about, what's the future? Okay.
Yeah. The future. So I think we're going to make some predictions today.
Exactly.
And it's interesting because all these things that we thought couldn't fucking happen are happening.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember during Donald Trump's campaign, RFK got out there and said that he was going to run Health and Human Services.
Okay, RFK. I mean, can you remind our viewers, because maybe some of them don't know who that loser is?
Yeah. Robert F. Kennedy.
Right.
He's like a conspiracy theorist, crazy anti-vaxxer, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
I remember when this came out, I was laughing my ass off and sending this article to everyone. And guess what? But less than 4 months later, the dude is running Health and Human Services. So
yeah,
we thought, okay, let's make some predictions. And then we can rewatch this, in a few months and see if we were correct about some of them.
Let's do that.
It's a little scary.
So we have, each of us, we have our list. We're going to run through some of this. We're going to try to make it boom, 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 fast.
Speed dating.
Yeah, speed dating, yep. Exactly. And I don't know what Jen's list is, and she doesn't know what my list is. So it's going to be like, okay, I'll take you by surprise and see how it goes.
Okay, so you go first.
I go first.
Name it.
Okay. Nord Stream. Gas.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, this one. Let's talk about this one because, guys. Nord Stream, that's a pipeline that was going from Russia to Germany, got shut at the beginning of the war.
Well, Trump says that he shut it down, yes?
Well, he didn't, but that's
what he says, I think.
So what's happening now? What's going on?
I have no idea what's happening with this yet.
They want to reopen it.
Oh, but I thought he was so impressed that he shut it down.
Well, and guess what? He wants an American company to run it. So, now there's a big deal running. Okay, let's have some Russian gas coming back to Europe. Let's reopen Nord Stream 2, and let's have it run by an American company. So actually, American can own energy in Europe. What do you think about this? Coming from Russia, of course, gas coming from Russia, money pouring into Russia.
Well, clearly. I mean, we can see that this administration is clearly positioning themselves as a friend of Russia. So that doesn't really seem that shocking to me. So, okay, do we think it's going to happen? What do you think? What's your prediction?
Unfortunately.
You think yes.
And I think if that happens, Europe is fucked.
Okay.
What do you think?
I mean, I don't know because I haven't heard of this one. So this is totally not on my radar.
Okay. It is.
So you think it's happening 2025, 2026?
2026.
Okay.
Germany needs cheap energy. It's going to come from Russia and it's going to be run by the US and Russia is going to make money and Europe is dead.
Okay, bitches, you heard it here first.
Yep, you did.
Okay.
Yours. Next.
Okay, so next. I mean, this one I think can be quite fast. Tourism. So
Oof.
as everyone has probably heard, tourism is already down in the U.S. Hugely from our friends in Canada.
Yeah.
I see pictures of the immigration. It looks like there's no one there. There's travel advisories everywhere not to go to the U.S. So, I mean, I think it's pretty safe to say that tourism is going to just be right now. I think it's down 25%.
That's what I've heard.
Okay.
I have a question for you, Jen.
Okay.
Would you fly back to the US right now?
Well, I mean,
would you feel safe flying back to the US?
I do not feel safe flying back to the US. I am going to the United States next month to see my mom for Mother's Day.
As usual.
And I am very nervous considering how I'm speaking out against this administration.
Yeah.
But, if they do anything crazy to a U.S. citizen,
what are you the most scared about? flying to the US? What do you think could happen?
Well, I just, it seems like they're pulling a lot of people over and asking to look at their phones.
At the border, right?
Yeah, which is such a like Russian thing to do, like open your phone. So I do know my rights now. They can actually ask you and you need to show them your phone, or they can seize your device.
So guys, if you're American, you're flying to the US, if they want to look at your phone, you can say no.
No, but they can seize your device if you say no.
They can.
So I think this is going to be completely insane. And yeah, I'm a little scared to go there, but I do think tourism and the lack of tourism is going to not only kill the U.S. economy, but it kind of leads me into my next one.
Okay, you go.
Which is because it's like together.
Okay.
Is that it's actually going to help bankrupt Boeing.
Oh, that was on my list too. I love this one. Okay.
And I do think I personally think that the Trump administration wants to bankrupt Boeing, which we have talked about. And the reason that I think this is because they want Boeing to go bankrupt and Musk to take over the airline industry in the US of A. What do you think?
Okay, so I think it's a little bit of conspiracy theory. We talked about it. I'm like,
But China said no more. We're not taking our Boeing planes. Like, basta.
Right. What I think is Boeing is really a fucked up company right now.
Okay.
Like they've been doing so bad with safety and stuff for years and years. They're losing tons of money. So I'm thinking that they might let it go bankrupt. I don't think they want it to go bankrupt. I think they might let it go bankrupt because it's such a fucked up company right now. It's like, maybe we should not support it. At the end of the day, the same result.
I mean, I guess maybe, but you have to understand it is one of our major exports.
It is.
So to even allow something like this to happen would be so catastrophic, I think, on the U.S. economy that, whether they're doing it for a reason or not is still a bad plan. But I am afraid for Boeing's future prediction.
Well, and it's, okay, to me, it's not just that. It's a little bit bigger than that because there's actually two places where major airlines are made. It's Boeing in the US and it's Airbus in Europe, which is France and Germany and a few other, but it's mostly France and Germany. And so that means that the US doesn't make any big airplanes anymore. That's it. We're becoming a
we're bringing
second-tier country.
We're bringing manufacturing back to the United States, man.
Yeah, not going to happen.
So that's our prediction on Boeing. Okay, next.
Okay. I want to talk about actually justice. Okay.
Oh, the judges?
Of the judges.
Okay.
Okay. My prediction
my
prediction, and it's a bad one, but my prediction is in 2 years, we don't have a Supreme Court in the United States of America.
Whoa, that is far, Z.
I know, but look at what's happening. Okay, so what just happened is the Supreme Court, and remember, in the Supreme Court, we have a majority of judges that are in favor of the current administration, right?
Yeah.
But they say, hey guys, you went a little too far with this Venezuelan thing. And so that guy that you deported, you should bring him back. And Trump is sitting in his chair and say, oh, maybe I'll do it or not.
Well, I would say the biggest thing on this
That's huge.
Yeah. And the question is, who really holds him account? So when he says no and they do this court order, whatever thing, like who do they bring in? Do they bring in Pam Bondi, or do they bring in somebody that Pam Bondi works for? Or who do they hold in contempt of court? And who really will uphold these things, like the military? No, because they're going to
No.
listen to the commander in
Of
chief,
course.
right?
Of course. So, and it's at the end of the day, it's like, oh, you guys, Supreme Court, 9 guys, you made that decision. Okay. How many troops do you have to make sure your decision is going to be...
Your prediction is no Supreme Court in 2 years, you said?
End of justice.
Okay, I think that takes it too far, so
Maybe.
I'm going to disagree with you on this one.
Okay, but I'm super worried about this one.
But I do question how we are going to uphold the justice system when you, as the executive branch, just are like, oh, whatever, dude. So, I don't know. Give us your thoughts on this. Write some comments on our video, because this is
it's a big one.
A very confusing one.
It's a very confusing one. Okay, Jen, what's your next?
I would say the stock market.
Oh,
okay, let's talk about the stock market for a hot minute. I mean, every time I look at the stock market and I look at my Amazon stock, I feel like I'm breathing through a straw.
Well, most of your savings is in Amazon stock because you worked for Zappos, which was bought by Amazon. So we have some.
So it's really painful.
Background.
That's insane. But you know what's even scarier than watching this is the bond market. You know, and just that China and Japan, who own the largest amount of our debt and bonds, threatened to really start selling a whole bunch of this. And that's why Trump pulled back on the tariffs, because if they did this, it would totally bankrupt our country. Yes.
But it did that, but he still, kept the tariff for China. So why, okay, he found kind of an agreement with Japan, but why not with China? China is the second largest after Japan holder of the bonds.
Continuing with this, okay, so prediction on, do we think that China and Japan will sell U.S. bonds at an alarming rate? Yes or no?
Yes.
Oof.
I believe they will, Jen. I believe they will, because look, we have to be honest on this. We have elected the biggest loser in the world.
Who's bankrupted how many companies?
7, I think.
Okay, just
7, if I remember well. 7, but check on it. So we've elected the biggest loser in the world. He doesn't know how to make a deal at all. That's exactly the reverse of his book. And so...
Well, I think he does know how to make a deal and strong arm people, but I don't think that he understands that strong arming other countries and world leaders is not the same as strong arming some dude who's building a building on Fifth Avenue. Do you know what I'm saying? It's totally different.
The thing is, Donald Trump has no plans. He has no strategy. He has no vision. Obviously there's no plan and no vision and no strategy. So it's like a day-to-day thing. It's a PR campaign. Every day is PR, and it's social media PR. China has a plan, a clear one, and they're delivering on their plan. Things are changing with the U.S. It's okay. They will. Look, Xi Jinping, first thing he did, tariffs. First thing Xi Jinping does, he goes to Vietnam. He goes to,
he's taking a tour of Europe right now. He literally met with the Spanish prime minister minute 1 to try and strike a new deal. So I do think that this is really crazy. And the guy who's running the tariff situation, what's that guy's name again? We were having kava the other night with our friend Den. And we were solving the problems of the world. Yeah. And we were talking to ChatGPT about this dude. What's his name again? Oh my God.
Yes. Super loser. The guy who was supposedly a teacher at
he's he's a teacher only, and he's written some books.
Yeah, we'll put it on the here. Yeah. His name is don't remember his name. Don't lose your brain power, but
I think it's Peter or something.
Peter, I want to say Rubio, but it's not Rubio because that's Marco Rubio. It's okay.
But yeah, so this guy certainly doesn't know what the hell is happening.
No,
you know.
Okay.
So so the plan is there is no plan.
The plan is there is no plan.
And we do believe that China has already won the war, the tariff war against the US, right?
We'll get back to China. Okay, my turn.
Okay.
The Fed. Okay. So there's been a lot of attacks from Donald Trump against Jerome Powell, who is the chairman of the Fed.
Because they didn't lower interest rates.
Because they didn't lower interest rates. And so actually Donald Trump is calling him too late. So that's kind of the nickname.
But he wants to fire him now, dude. Right?
Exactly. So, but that's a big deal. That's a huge deal. So he wants to fire him, and nobody really knows if he really has the power to do it, because he just fired a few director of federal agencies. And there's kind of some question around, can he fire Jerome Powell or not?
Well, clearly, I think he can't, or he would have already done it. And saying.
And my prediction is he will fire him. So let's watch, because I predict that Donald Trump is going to fire Jerome Powell in the next few months. His mandate is up into, I think, mid-2026. And by the way, he hired Jerome Powell. I mean, he's been appointed by Donald Trump. But now Donald Trump hates him, and my prediction is
that let's just be clear. Anytime anyone does anything that he doesn't like, his first thing is like pretending like he's on fucking Apprentice again, and you're fired.
But you're fired. Exactly.
That's his like jam.
But look, this is a big deal. So first prediction was one of my first prediction was Supreme Court is dead. My second prediction is Jerome Powell, who is the chairman of the Fed, is going to be fired, which means that the Fed is not independent anymore, which means that two of the main counterpower in the United States of America are dead, which means that basically this country is ready for dictatorship.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in talking to our friends from Ukraine who have a lot more experience with authoritarianism and oligarchy and, you know, all of this dictatorship type governments, because they've been living through it forever, they all really tell us that they already feel like the US voter doesn't even realize that they won't ever be voting again. And I mean, I know they're taking it like really, really far, but we do have to kind of think, is this really true? Our friend tells us that the minute you lose control of the media completely, and the media is unable to speak out the way they want to speak out, that's when you've completely lost the country. So for now, keep it on your radar. MSNBC, CNN are still able to talk against Trump. Bill Maher is still able to talk against Trump. When those people are silenced, or the people who own those companies change hands, we're in a lot of trouble, people. A lot of trouble. Yeah.
Okay. Question before we go to a prediction.
Okay.
But you just mentioned that our friend from Ukraine said, oh, maybe you will never be able to vote again. Remember, Donald Trump said, maybe you won't have to vote again. He said that on a rally before the election.
Wow.
What is your prediction on that?
I mean, he's already been talking about a third term. I mean, I think he'll do anything to run a third time. They'll try and change the Constitution for sure. I mean, I think this is definitely later on down the line they're going to try and do this, but for sure. I mean, but you know, but then you read people say, okay, well, if we're going to run Trump when he's like 85 years old, let's be clear, then like the Democrats get to run Obama again or something, right?
Can I give you a crazy prediction?
Okay, go.
Okay. I predict that J.D. Vance is going to run with Donald Trump as vice president on the ticket, and J.D. Vance is going to resign, and Donald Trump is going to be president.
I mean, maybe,
again.
but I don't even know. Trump's ego is so inflated. Babes, I don't see him going for this. I see him more changing the Constitution so that he can run for a third term, because I don't think he's going to be anyone's VP, bitch. That's just my...
But what if it's for 2 days?
I'm just telling you, it would be months of him campaigning as the VP. His ego is too large. I get it.
Okay, maybe I'm pushing it too far.
That's just me personally, you know.
Next prediction, Jen.
Okay, is it my turn?
Yes.
Oh my God, there's so many.
I know, right? Look, it's crazy.
Okay, so let's go to food safety.
Okay.
I mean, this I think is becoming a big problem. You know, we're firing so many people around food safety and the USDA and all of this. I believe that we are soon going to have some major issues with food safety in the US.
Okay.
And I think that unfortunately it's really going to start killing some people that we're not being able to trace. Like, you know, when they recall your romaine lettuce.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there's going to be no recalls, so people are just going to keep eating this shit. What do you think? I think this is happening. I
didn't thought about this one, but actually now I'm worried.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I don't live in the US anymore.
Yeah, so. In 2025, I think food safety is going to be a problem.
Wow. Okay, my turn. My turn. Well, I want to talk about actually about Ukraine.
Oh my God, your prediction on this. I was trying to decide if I could even bring this up.
No, we have to talk about it. I mean, you've heard the news recently. Marco Rubio said,
who's done a complete about face on his stance on Ukraine. Okay, and let's remember, people.
Right.
Trump said that he would solve this war before his first day in office.
Biggest loser in the world, Donald Trump. I will sell them in 24 hours. Well,
it's bullshit, Barbie. Let's be clear.
Bullshit, Barbie.
It's bullshit, Barbie. But okay, so he hasn't done it. He's realized this is way more complicated than he thought.
Whoopsies.
The ceasefire is like not happening. So what?
But did he really wanted a ceasefire?
Yeah, I did. I actually believe, because, you know, I was telling you, I really don't know shit about like historical things, but I've been watching some stuff, and I will tell you, this whole America First mindset was, you know, came a long time ago with Dwight D. Eisenhower and FDR and all these people. So, and they really did not want to be in foreign wars. So that was, you know, the backbone of their America First agenda back in the day. So I do believe he doesn't want these wars.
Okay, I do believe he wants the money from it. But so recently, Marco Rubio said, "Oh, we have to fix it really quickly
in a few days."
In a few days, So then J.D. Vance was in Rome and said, "Oh, I'm optimistic." And then Donald Trump said recently, "Well, we have a few days to fix it, or we're not going to be interested in dealing with it.
We're going to walk away," I think they said.
So what is your prediction?
Well, you know, it's hard to say, because is this another weirdo art of the deal trying to get Ukraine to sign off their rare earth minerals? Because the one thing the U.S. hasn't done ever is focus on rare earth minerals. And that's where I do think a lot of this like shit with Ukraine and Greenland and everything is coming from, is with the rare earth minerals, because China's turned off even giving us any rare earth minerals recently.
Okay, then my question to you is there any rare earth mineral in Ukraine?
There is, I've heard, in the east, in the Donetsk part, which is what Russia wants to take.
So
pretty much.
Is there really rare earth mineral in Ukraine?
I mean, I think there are. I think there are, but you don't know, of course, until you start digging.
There you go. You have to start digging, like in everything. You have to start digging.
So, I mean, my prediction for Ukraine, I mean, you know, my heart is
right.
I don't have an answer. What's your prediction?
My prediction is
Can I hear this?
Yes. No, my prediction is optimistic. Europe is going to step up because Europe cannot afford to lose Ukraine, and it's going to be a loss for the US. And my prediction is there is no rare earth mineral in Ukraine, and so it's out of the table. But it's okay because there's many other things.
Okay, so prediction, you heard it here first. Europe is going to step up.
Yes.
I mean, here's hoping.
Yeah, it's hope.
I'm not sure, if these 27 nations have, I don't know. But okay, let's hope.
Let's hope. Okay, your turn, Jen.
Okay, so I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. Trump administration leading in fear. They love this propaganda technique. So they are waiting and hoping for the largest terrorist attack since 9/11 on U.S. soil. Okay. I do think they really want this to happen because they want Americans to be scared. What do you think? Do you think it's going to happen?
No, but I think something else is going to happen.
Okay, what's your prediction? I think personally, I think it's going to happen.
Okay.
And I think they want it to happen.
I think what's going to happen is more civil protest, like people going on the street and fighting.
Oh, so you think a civil war?
It's kind of a civil war. At the end of the day, it's kind of the same result. Like they're going to send the troops, but I don't think it's going to come from the same place.
Okay.
That's bad.
I mean, that's bad. Civil war, I don't know. A lot of people talk about that this might happen, the civil war situation. I mean, I feel like there's so many people now that hate us that the chance of us having a terrorist attack on foreign soil to me seems high. More than and faster than a civil war.
But don't you feel like the US is shrinking so fast and it's becoming so less critical in the world that it's not as interesting from anyone? I mean, except if it comes from Iran, which is, okay, I understand people supporting Iran could be pissed at the administration but I don't know. I don't feel it. I don't know.
Okay, so I say terrorist attack. You say civil war.
Yes.
You heard it here first.
Okay,
your turn.
My turn, and that's going to be the last one. China is going to win?
I mean, they've already won. I mean, the minute that Trump threatened this tariff situation, and then the next day was like, oh, but like no tariffs on like cell phones and laptops. I mean, to me, you've lost, like, because you did your little threat and then 24 hours later you went back on it.
So prediction, okay, let's say 2027, China is the largest superpower in the world.
I mean, at the rate we're going, it would not be surprising to me.
Okay, we have the same prediction, so let's watch.
Okay.
Well,
should I see?
Last one, and we're done.
Okay. So I think there's one more thing that we should just throw out there, and that is it's been less than 100 days of this administration. Just so you guys know, he has signed 130 executive orders, and only 2 pieces of legislation have passed. So they clearly know that they can't do shit unless they just sign a big piece of paper with his like giant signature. And what I think
Sharpie.
What I think is super crazy is I've been way obsessed with ChatGPT for like the last month. I mean, you should see how ChatGPT and I chat. It's really funny.
It's crazy. It's a real relationship, guys.
It's super funny.
Yeah.
And what I think is weird is I feel like in the last 2 weeks, the information that I'm getting is starting to be censored. I feel like when I start talking about asking about Caroline Leavitt or the Trump administration, I feel like there's a different voice even that's now you can hear. You were here the other night. We were drinking coffee.
Yeah.
And you can hear the difference in the voice. Is this happening to you guys? Because it's happening to me. Even today, it took me 3 questions for me to get ChatGPT to tell me how many executive orders he had signed. It was like it was being silenced. So is this happening to you? We need to know.
Yes.
He's hacked my fucking ChatGPT.
Okay. Well, that raises 2 questions to me. The first one is, to me, it's crazy that there's only 2 bills that has been passed and 136 executive orders.
130, okay.
Which means that Congress is dead, right?
Well,
they're not voting, they're not doing their job. And the second thing is what you're saying is now we have censorship in the US.
Yeah. I think it started. I really do, because the difference between the way my ChatGPT was giving me information about the administration just 2 weeks ago and now seems extremely different. So let us know.
Yeah, please.
Are you guys experiencing the same thing? Stay aware.
Cool.
And I mean, let's see. We'll revisit this in
To conclude, I want to ask you a question, Jen, because this is something we've discussed. There's a few things that we haven't really seen since the beginning of this administration. Is those first 100 days is he hasn't really talked about women rights, all that stuff. When is it coming?
It's
or
coming.
Is it coming?
It's
and
coming.
How? Okay, tell me.
I mean, it's coming. Right now, I think he's trying to dismantle, the schools, and the judges and this kind of thing. I mean, they've already begun to rewrite history in terms of everything on the websites and taking out the word gay and
censorship.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
I mean, the women's rights is coming. I would say the first thing, though, that happened is they passed a law about voter ID.
Oh, yes.
Remember?
Uh-huh.
So they passed this law, and, if you're registered to vote now as a woman, you are going to have to show ID, and it's going to have either your passport with your name,
birth certificate,
and a birth certificate. And most women, since they're married, have 2 different last names. They're not going to be able to vote. So it's the beginning.
Okay, well, more than ever, it's time definitely to be careful.
Look up for sure.
Dummy fox.
Yep. And good luck, guys out there.
Comment,
go
share.
make sure your passport is, if you're a lady, make sure your passport is up to date. Make sure it has your registration to vote the same as your name, please, because we need you guys voting next year.
Thank you for watching. And it was Look Up.
Dummy Fuck.